My- All right, welcome everybody to Crystal Diaries episode 4. Tonight we've got Natasha Heard joining us from Blessed Branches. Blessed.
Hi.
Blessed.
Blessed.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm excited about this conversation. So, can you tell us, before we jump in and start, we'll give people a minute to jump on, but before we jump into this conversation, so tell us a little bit about your journey with like crystals and your business is Blessed Branches. So can you tell us a little bit about your whole journey with it?
Yes, I can. And thank you for having me on, Simon. I have always been drawn to crystals. Some people who follow me would know my first story with crystals was that I actually stole a piece of amethyst from my best friend in kindergarten.
I did that too. My first crystal was a stolen crystal that I found from a kid at school, and I was like so drawn to it. I was like, whatever this is, I'm taking it home. It was yeah.
So my friend, she'd been on holidays and she came back with this little bag full of little tumbled amethyst stones, and she asked me to hold on to them while she went to the bathroom, and I pulled one out and put it in my pocket and kept it because I was just so like, I just loved whatever it was. I didn't have much understanding of crystals at that time, but whatever it was, I was like, I have to have one of these. And it was when we started high school. I don't know how many years later that is. I don't do math. But when we started high school, I took that crystal back into school and I gave it back to her and I said, I stole this from you in kindergarten. And she said, I don't want it, keep it. So I was like, woo.
That's very cute.
Yeah. And I've just been, I used to just collect crystals, one of those things all through as a teenager. I just kept collecting different stones, and it's just been something that's been in my life forever. So,
and now you've got that. You've had the business Blessed Branches for how long have you had it now? Like 10 years or something?
More. Yeah, it's more like about 12 to 13 years.
Cool.
We've been doing branches. Yeah.
How did that work out?
How did it start?
Yeah.
It's actually started because we moved over to the coast and we were walking along the beach a lot, and me and my husband were picking up branches and just being like, this is like a wand. Like this feels like a wand in the hand. And we just started, because I had crystals, lots of crystals around, we just started finding that, like, well, this crystal kind of feels like it matches with this branch. So we just started putting them together, and I just had a regular Facebook page, just Natasha Heard, who I was, and I just started sharing the ones that I was making, and people were like, can I buy that? And so I started selling my wands, and one day somebody said to me, you should make a Facebook business page. And I was like, okay. So I did. And just like that, it's taken all this time, but this is my full-time job. I make wands and magical tools and talismans from crystals and branches, and I usually use upcycled things as well that I find, and yeah, that's what I do.
That's awesome. A few people might not know this, and I don't know if you remember this, but you're actually one of the reasons. So like, I think it was good 25 years ago, I started making wands and teaching myself how to make wands. And then I stopped for quite a few years. And then I remember I was driving in a truck. I was doing furniture removal in Byron Bay. And I jumped on the internet on Facebook and then saw that you were selling wands. And I was like, hey, I used to make wands. So I was like, maybe I should just start making wands again, because I saw that you were doing it as a business. I was like, maybe I could sell a few wands. And then I think about 30 days later, I quit. About a month later, is 30 days is a month. I quit my job and then just started making wands. And then within a year, my business just became a full-time business of like making wands, selling crystals, and
Yeah.
and eventually it just exploded into what it is kind of now. So, and now I'm like, I haven't made a wand in about 2 years because I've been traveling and got stuck in the
Yeah.
UK. Yeah, I'm looking
Oh,
forward to
you got stuck.
Yeah. I got stuck over there for like 12 months. They were like,
Okay.
no, Australia went, no, you can't come in. So
Right.
I went, yeah. But I love the UK. It's a beautiful place. Have you been
Yeah.
there before?
I have never left Australia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's in the
UK,
future.
yeah, it's got some amazing places to go. If you're into your witchy stuff as you are, it will blow your freaking mind. It's the origin of it kind of thing.
I'm pretty sure I go there in my dreams. There's a shop that I visited a few times in my dreams, and I'm like, why do I keep going back to this shop? And it feels like it's in that space. So,
oh, cool.
One day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
so you didn't even know, because I remember you as Shamanic Wand, and when you asked me to come on the podcast, I was like, Crystal Affair, who is this?
Yeah, well, a couple of years ago, I just didn't have the time to make wands anymore. So I was just like, I think I need to change the name. And it was just time for a change. And and then it became a Crystal Affair because the amount of women that would come to my pop-up shops and say, when you go, do you want a receipt for your crystals that you've just bought? She's like, no, I don't want the evidence. I don't want my partner to know. So I was like, how many women actually have an affair with crystals and they don't tell their partners, or they have an affair with buying tools? And so I was like, this is kind of an apt name for it. So that's where it came from.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so people want to pick up a wand, and they're like, I'm going to dong my husband over the head with this. And I'm like, no, that's not what it's for.
Yeah. Well, whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my brain just completely left the station then. That's great. Well, yeah, we were going to talk to people tonight about like making moon water with crystals.
That's right.
Yeah. What is moon water for people that don't know?
Moon water. So when the moon is full, that's when you want to fill up a little jar, or like some people just use mason jars with like the lids, or I just collect these like little ones with lids that come, and you fill them up with water. You go put it out under the moonlight, and you leave them out there all night, and the moon actually charges your water. And like water is so it holds vibrations so easily. Like when you put your water out underneath the moonlight, it absorbs that magic of the moon. So anybody can do it. Any witch can make moon water. Even if you're not a witch, you can make moon water. Everybody can do it. And the benefits are like having something very special. You can use your moon water to drink. So I put a tiny bit of my moon water into my regular drinking water that I drink every day, just so that I can have a little bit of that magical energy every day. And I've been playing around with the moon and what phase of like the star sign it's in at that stage.
Yep.
So the last few that I've done, I did a full moon water when the moon was in Leo, and with the moon in Leo, I chose crystals that were associated with Leo to put around, put them around. So Tiger's Eye and I've got one. Hematite.
Carnelian.
I've lost it. I had it sitting here. Yeah. So the crystals that are associated with Leo, I would put some of those into the water, the ones that are water safe. You don't want to put crystals that aren't water safe in your water, but the ones that aren't water safe you can put around, or on top of your glass bottles or containers, and that energy will infuse in as well. So that's just giving an extra boost to that magical water. You're also putting the crystal energy in as well as the moon energy. And then when you drink it, you're having that. And so it's not all about drinking it either. You can also use it to splash around like rooms to give good vibrations. You can give it to your plants and your pets. And there's so many things that you can do. You can use it in spells and all kinds of things. The other moons that I did was the Virgo full moon, and then this one was Libra full moon. And I've been just experimenting with the different crystals and the different energies that each full moon water gives to me.
Oh, cool. And let me go back to what you said too, because there's that thing with making moon water with crystals. Sorry, when you put certain crystals in water, and there are certain crystals that we definitely don't recommend to put in water, just because they're more porous, but they also their material. Some of it, like something like as bumblebee jasper, is asbestos. Which has been fossilized. There's stuff like malachite, selenite, anything. I think with an ITE at the end is something that you don't want to put in water. No, maybe not. But just do your research. I would recommend to even not using crystals that have been cut and polished too, especially because they use a cut and a polish on it, which is it's kind of toxic. You're not supposed to be drinking it. So if you can, like Natasha said, put it around the glass that you have, and then allow it to contribute to the energy of the water and energize it that way. Yeah.
All of the quartz family, so smoky quartz, clear quartz, amethyst, rose quartz, and agates are all quite safe to put in. But otherwise, really look into it, because I even seen the other day that moonstone is one that you shouldn't put into water. And it's for the safety of us, and it's also for the safety of the stones. So you don't want to put selenite in. It's going to dissolve away. And like you said, porous stones, it can just take the shine away from stones and their beauty. So
and also, I know that the shungite is a brilliant stone for purifying water. The Russians have done lots of scientific research on it and using shungite in water, and it is a great way to purify water too. But like we say, don't go it's better to just kind of put it around if you can, and then let it energize. Or you can buy bottles now where they actually separate the water from the crystals too. So yeah,
I've seen a lot of those. And you can also find at op shops and secondhand shops they're old oil and vinegar. I think they're an oil and vinegar, and it's got the little section on the inside for the oil, and the vinegar goes on the outside, so you can put your crystals into the little bit and put your water in the outer side.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
And then they've got all the new ones now with the crystal in the water, or the base has a section that unscrews where you can put your crystals in. It's really cool.
Yeah. For anyone that wants to, feel free to drop a question in the chat about what we're talking about, kind of thing. I remember I used to and this would have been 10, 20 years ago, but if you would have walked up to my house at any time, I would have had these glass bottles just half full of crystals, and I used to have one for each chakra, and it was I would drink the one that was kind of whatever I was working on or whatever. I would drink that water, and I used to actually really enjoy it. There were certain ones I wasn't really aware at that time of the ones that you're not supposed to drink, like selenite and malachite, but it was interesting that I probably wasn't as drawn to that as I was to the amethyst ones and stuff like that too.
Well, the last lot of the moon water that I did make, I put a moonstone into one of mine, and I just had this feeling I just didn't want to drink it. And it was the Virgo moon, and I was feeling it was all about organizational things, and I just wasn't wanting to drink it. Maybe it was intuition, I'm not sure, because I found out later that moonstone shouldn't go into water. But I was just using it to splash around my office room and to put like sigils and magical symbols on the walls and the mirror and all kinds of things. So you can put your crystals in there. Just be aware of the ones that you're drinking.
Yeah, and this is
what you could have done drinking that chakra water.
Yeah, that was some days it was good. But this is the thing, is like I was thinking about this today, is like one of the things is we're not really taught to, like, even in the metaphysical stuff, we're not really taught to like learn to fully listen to your own intuition. Like a lot of the time we go, oh, do this, but it's like when we have that awareness of like, maybe your body's like, maybe don't drink this water because I don't want to drink it. But it's like, how often are we taught to like go to someone else or do some research or whatever beforehand, instead of intuitively actually trusting what we actually pick up? And this is the key, is like what I'm noticing a lot. There's a lot of information out there about like how to work with crystals, what crystals to work with, what don't to work with. Like there's all this information, but like with all that information there, it's like how often do people actually really learn to actually trust their intuition? And that's the thing with the work that you do too. It's like a lot of the moon work and the witchcraft kind of stuff. It is more, you consider yourself a green witch, which is more, is that correct?
I'm just a witch, all kinds of witches. Yeah, I just roll it all up into one, and that's me.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like that energy is kind of like, you know, I just follow my awareness. I don't have a system. I just follow whatever the fuck I get to do intuitively, and that's like, I think a key for that a lot of people would benefit from, if they actually just stop listening to what books tell them, what this person says, and just allow yourself to actually have your own awareness with that. And that's something I think you can speak to.
Oh yeah, because I have the same. A lot of people come to me and they say, well, where do I start? Like I'm really interested in witchcraft. Where do I start? And like, what books do you recommend? And I say, well, I don't really have any books to recommend, but go out in nature and, you know, get in touch with the earth and start to see what comes up in here, like what happens in here. Because as soon as you start to connect to nature and to yourself, like your intuition will just start to flow, and you'll start to feel like maybe you'll feel like putting your crystals outside. They might need a cleanse. So you get your crystals and you go outside, and then you realize, well, it's full moon, so it's the perfect time, but you didn't actually know it was full moon. It's just in you to know those things, to have that intuition.
Yeah, I love that too, because I remember when I was studying witchcraft and all that stuff like years ago, there was never a book that I found that actually kind of like, there were certain great things that I would take from it, but there was never a book that I was kind of like, holy shit, that kind of was amazing and that made a lot of sense. A lot of the time was about like learning to kind of go like, and learning, and that's the thing, is like the more you use your intuition and kind of like what we call, so I do something called access consciousness, but it's basically one of the tools there is we call follow the lightness, which is like that lightness is your awareness of like when you have that light feeling of like, okay, don't drink this water. That's the indication. That's your intuition speaking to you. That's your higher awareness, if you want to call it that. But that's the thing of like, the more we can learn to listen to that, and like you said, go out in the nature, like that's when there's less people's heads are talking, and it's less when there's less craziness, and that's when you find that space, and then you can actually learn to start to listen to yourself and listen to your awareness and trust that awareness. So yeah,
for sure. And it's a big trust thing, because a lot of people just don't trust. And with intuition, it's something that is so gentle and so subtle that a lot of people are looking for something huge. Like they're thinking to themselves, well, when the intuition comes, it'll be like lightning and it'll be like this vision. But sometimes it's not. Like a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's a very soft feeling that you'll have in your heart or in your gut or in your mind. It'll feel like a memory. Like instead of a vision, it's kind of something that's very familiar, because that is what your intuition is. It's really gentle.
I love what you're saying with this too, because also we say that in Access too. We call it like listen for the whispers, and that's the thing. Like you're saying is awareness and intuition doesn't come like a. Sometimes it does. Like you could have that awareness of like, don't go down this street or don't get into your car today. But there, a lot of the time, like the awareness is such a light whisper. And the more we can learn to actually listen to that whisper, the more we can actually learn to acknowledge that whisper, the louder it actually becomes, but it doesn't need to tell. It's just kind of like, so
I agree.
Yeah. I love this conversation. Has anyone got any questions for us about this or,
Is anyone here? How do we see? How do we know?
Turn on the comments. Yeah, there's a few people on there. So someone's just tagged someone else anyway. So yeah, I can't think of anything. I mean, do you want to share anything else? I could ask you a question. Is like, what would you like to share with yourself? Like, if you look back 20 years ago, what information would you have liked to have 20 years ago that you would give yourself now?
Yeah. Well, 20 years ago, I would have had a baby, and I was on my own, and I wouldn't have even known, at all what was coming in the future. And the biggest lessons that I've had in my life have been to forgive always, to always be the bigger person, always. Like, that's how you go forward in life. You have to always be a bigger person, forgive people, and not hold on to any of that crap. You've got to let it go and move forward. And like, I've just turned, I've turned 40 last year, and I'm amazed at how much growth and evolution I've been through in the last 6 months. Like, it just keeps going and going, learning and lessons, and life just keeps getting more and more amazing. You know, if I was to tell someone in their 20s, you know, don't ever worry about getting older, because getting older is amazing.
Yeah. That's so cool. I would agree. I think when I turned 40, it was like, well, actually, I noticed when I turned 30, it was like, but the older I get, the actual more amazing my life gets. But that's something that I choose every day too. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, that was a really awesome little chat. So if anyone wants to find you, Tash, if they want to check out your stuff, your beautiful wands, and you've got some beautiful little bottles and all different ritual tools and stuff, where can they go?
I have some right here that I can share on. This is a new one that I made this week. You can find me and all of the things that I do, because I share a lot of my life online, mainly on Instagram. Instagram is where I am, and I share every day in my stories. I share all of the magical things that I do. Every Monday I do 3 to 5 minute video, which is called Magical Minutes, which I share all of the magical things that I have encountered through the week, and sometimes those things just blow my mind, and I just talk about those things. Every Wednesday we have Wands Day, where I share wand tips, like how to use, and like tips and tricks about wands. And every weekend I update my Etsy shop with new pieces that usually just fly straight out the door. So gotta be quick.
What are you on Etsy? Are you blessed branches?
Blessed branches.
Yeah,
yep.
Cool.
Branches.
Awesome. All right, we can put a link in after.
Yeah, I do have a Facebook page, but I've recently there was too much weirdness going on Facebook, and there was a lot of spamming, people just coming in and spamming, and so I've decided to just put all of my attention into Instagram, so that's where to find me.
Yeah. I've noticed that one of my friends who's like got many followers, and when he jumps on live, he gets absolutely annihilated with spamming people. So like, yeah, they actually have like special chats where they go in and send people links and stuff. Laura's got a question here. I'm going to pop it up here so we can see. Can you please have a quick chat about Moldavite? Some people seem to be confused about it and are saying it is negative and dangerous. All right, Tash, what do you want to say about it?
I have never even had a piece of Moldavite, but I do believe that you can access all crystals just by thinking about them. Like the crystals are there in the earth, and we are part of the earth. So if we connect our consciousness with that crystal, we can connect with its energies. So even though I've never held Moldavite, I have felt a connection to it. And I would say that no crystals are ever negative and dangerous. People are negative and dangerous if that's what their mindset is. If you're positive and you've got a crystal, there's no way anything negative will happen to you.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, like crystals don't really have an ill intent or anything like that. There's nothing that can be really dangerous. It's like a dog. A dog can be mellow as, or it can be very aggressive, but it's just an energy. So, I mean, and that's the thing, Laura, is thank you for asking a question too. But that's the thing is what we were talking about earlier is like follow your awareness with that. Like people will say something, but it's like, well, what does your awareness say? And that's the thing is like, we look at this tool of like, does this feel light or does this feel heavy? And when someone says Moldavite is dangerous and negative, that feels heavy to me. That's like, that doesn't, we both kind of are like, what? How does the crystal going to be dangerous? Unless someone puts it into your eye, that could be dangerous.
If anything, Moldavite connects you to like extraterrestrial energies and like universal energies. If anything, it is the lightest energy that there is. Yeah. Like you connect to the energy of Moldavite and you are going to go straight up.
Yeah.
But the only danger that would be there was if you weren't prepared for that energy.
Yeah. And that's the thing too is with crystals is they can't actually contribute something that you're not willing to be or receive too. So that's like anything in your life. If you're asking for more love to show up, you have to be willing to love yourself and receive that love for yourself. And crystals are the same. They can't give you something that you're not prepared to receive or be too. So the universe never gives you more than you can receive. Awesome. Thanks for your question, Laura.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we might leave it there. Maybe we can bring you back another time and have a chat about something else.
Sure. It's fun.
Awesome.
Great. I love it. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.